Okay, in this video we're going to show you how to set up the Sennheiser ME66 shotgun microphone with the K6 power supply in a Rycote Zeppelin with a windscreen attached to the boom pole. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the dead cat from the blimp. We just simply take that off. We'll leave this over to the side for now. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure we're going to open up our microphone from the power supply. We just simply untwist this. Make sure it has a battery in it. It does not. So what we would do we'd go ahead and take a 1 AA battery, negative, positive, insert that in there, and then we would close that back up. Take very care not to damage the threads. They're very, very thin threads and it needs to be able to attach all the way. This is now our on. So this switch here, I want to make sure we don't leave this on when we put it back into storage. And the indicator, the on indicator light, only flashes for a second. So you'll be able to see that it's on and that it's being powered by a battery. For right now, we will leave it on because once we put it in the blimp or the Zeppelin, we won't be able to access that on switch. So we'll do that now. Okay, I'm going to leave this over to the side here till we're ready. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and open up the Zeppelin. To do this, the back end opens up. So here's the sort of place where it connects with the pistol grip. And this back end, we simply, if we're facing this side, it would rotate counterclockwise. And you see that there are little, I don't know, sort of attachments there that then fit into corresponding holes, and then it would simply just rotate about 1/8 of a turn to tighten. There we go. So we'll set that aside here. Now this here is an Xlr attachment. It is built into a cable that then runs through the pistol grip, runs down the boom pole, and if I showed you the end of the boom pole, you'd see an Xlr attachment there, and that's where you'd actually attach to your XLR cable that would then go into your recorder. So it's a pretty convenient setup. Oops. Okay, this is pretty fragile here. I mean, it's not like glass or anything, but if you stepped on this or sat on this or put something heavy on it, it would crush this, and then that would limit the usability of that. You can also take off the front, which we'll also do. And again, we can turn this counterclockwise, pull that off, and then we see the full pistol grip setup here. The mic fits into these two holders here. So what we do is we would go ahead and connect this through the thing. So 3 holes match up, 3 pins match up with 3 holes. I'd hear a click there, and then I'd go ahead and I would move this into the attachment. Therefore, now we have this thing that's suspended with rubber brackets, so it just moves freely. So there's nothing really rubbing against the microphone, but it's connected, it's in its bracket here, and then the XLR connector is also in this bracket. We make sure that the mic is definitely on, and so now that's contained in here. It's kind of tricky, and I don't know how best to show you this, but this cable that comes out of the back of the XLR connector has to squeeze through these 2 connections. So if I put this connection back on and then the other connection back on, there's no room for a cable to come out of. So therefore, and it's be a little bit difficult to show you this, but I'm going to try anyway. This little cable routes up through this little space provided in this sort of center circle, and then it runs through and connects. So make sure that should come in there already. You shouldn't really have to manipulate that. But if you do, that's where you know that that cable kind of snakes through that little opening. Okay, so I'm going to attach my front portion again. Find the little guides and the holes. Clockwise click. Same thing with the back. Clockwise click. And now my microphone my shotgun microphone is safely contained inside my Zeppelin. I can rotate this for the proper angle, and then of course tighten here, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So now you see that, and again, Zeppelin, pistol grip, cable, and then we'll get a wide shot showing you the boom pole, but this is the length of the boom pole. It telescopes using these functions here. So if I loosen this, I can telescope it out and get some serious length to it. And then I connect my XLR cable that will go from here to my recorder at the bottom of the boom pole. So it's a pretty sophisticated setup. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach our dead cat. So our dead cat has an opening down here. We feed the front through first, work that all the way, and then very carefully bring that bottom end over. Kind of shore up any edges, make sure that's a good snug fit. This needs to be combed out a little bit. You don't want to get it all. Got to keep that nice. And so now this baby's ready to go. And remember, the microphone inside is on, and it should stay on. If you ever need to access it to turn it off, say you forgot it, just work this back end off, turn that counterclockwise. You should be able to reach in there and kind of find it and hit the on switch. Now, during a day of production, it's okay to leave the microphone in here. If you're breaking down for the day, take the microphone out. Generally, when people find these accessories at the beginning of the day, they're assuming there is not a microphone in them. So I don't suggest throwing this around or anything, but I definitely wouldn't suggest being rough with it or throwing it around if I knew that there was a $300 or $400 microphone inside. So be careful of that. All right, this baby's ready to go. We're going to set it aside. We're going to move on to the next piece of equipment to demo, and then we'll eventually end with a video that kind of puts it all together.